Hello and welcome to Shine Intuition. I am so excited that you're joining me today. I will be doing a video on how to overcome trust issues because I just really feel like as a collective that sometimes many of us, including myself, have struggled with just trusting the process, trusting the person that you feel loves you and vice versa. Just having that trust and it's so important in relationships. Like, it's one of the fundamental things that we absolutely need to build with someone. And so I just want to talk about that. And so, if this is your first time on the channel, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Akila, and I am a prophetic seer and a divine feminine intuitive empath, which means that I am able to see into the different realms of the spirit and relay information that will inspire, heal, and help promote growth. So, hopefully, you found me because you were led to me. I don't normally say, oh, I have a YouTube channel. So, I hope that whoever connects with this video, it's because you were supposed to find me. And I am so happy to connect with you. So, sit back, relax, and take a couple of deep breaths with me before I begin to talk about trust and whatever else comes along with the message, okay? So here we go. That's breath number 1 and number 2. Awesome. So I'm so excited that you're here. And I want to talk about trust because getting over trust issues can be really challenging. But I know that it's possible with self awareness, patience, and dedication. So I just want to go over some steps to help address and overcome trust issues. Okay, because I know I'll just be transparent. Like, I get triggered and I know that it stems from somewhere. So let's just talk about it a little bit. So the first thing when it comes to trust is that we have to recognize and not acknowledge that we even have trust issues. I feel like that's half the battle. So once we acknowledge that we have trust issues, then we can begin to understand the root of it. Like, where is it coming from? And then we can also reflect on any past experiences that may have contributed to these feelings. So it's like, what happened to you? Was it as a child? Was it um, a relationship with your parents? Was it a past relationship? Like, you have to begin to unpack the box. Okay, so even as I'm saying it, I see like this big box, and it's weird because it looks like a present, but it's really not a present. So I don't understand why I'm seeing the box with like red paper and even like a bow when I said unpack the box. Um, so yeah, we have to unpack the box and see where the root cause is. All right. And then the second thing I want to say is that sometimes we need professional help, like a counselor, an advisor, a light worker, someone who can help us, because trust issues impact us daily in our relationships, work relationships. And so sometimes we have to consider seeking support from a therapist or a counselor. And there's nothing wrong with that, because a mental health professional can help us to work through the underlying issues and provide coping strategies. And that's something that is okay. I know in our community, African Americans, it's becoming more popular to, to have a coach or a counselor or a therapist. And it's important. We need that. I know I've done it a few times in my life, whether it was marital counseling, individual counseling, but it seemed to help in one way or another. The next thing I want to talk about is really just like practicing self compassion. And that's really about like self love. So we have to be kind to ourselves during this process. Whatever you do that makes you feel the most loved for yourself, it's good. Like for me, like, I love nature, I love a massage. I need to exercise more. Like, I know that that's self love for me, and drinking water. Those types of things are just sitting around with candles, a bubble bath, like that makes me feel compassionate with myself. So, because trust issues, they're common, so you don't have to feel like you're all alone in this. You're not. And other people are facing that as well. I think it's one of the common things that a lot of people go through. But just avoid the self blame and understand that even when you begin this journey of learning to trust others, that is going to take time. It's going to be a process. It's not going to be like a sprint, it's going to be like a marathon or a journey. And so you kind of have to prepare yourself to walk it out. Okay, and something just came to me is that journaling is something that we can do to kind of walk through the process. And so the next thing I want to talk about is just identifying the patterns. So recognize patterns in your relationships where trust issues tend to come on the rise. And I'll say one way I get triggered, and this is very selfish. I hate to even say it, but I want to be transparent. Like, say I'm dating someone and I call them and they don't answer immediately, and I'm going to say immediately, I go to, oh, they must be on another call, they must be on a date, or, something like that. Like, it immediately goes into like this dark space. And why is that? Like, just because you call someone and they're not available doesn't mean that they're out cheating with someone. They could literally just be busy. Or if someone says that they're going to call me back and they don't call me back, like, I get triggered by that too, because I'm like, in all honesty, it's a small thing, but I also feel like sometimes people just fall asleep. I know I've fallen asleep. Like, I'll get busy and I had the best intentions of calling someone back and I'll just drift off, and I'm like, dang, I'll wake up, it's the next day. So sometimes just giving people that room. So you have to kind of look at, where does the trust issues, where does it arise? And then understanding that, and when you understand these patterns, they can help you to adjust and address specific triggers and work on resolving them. So the next thing I want to talk about is just taking small steps, because rebuilding trust is like a gradual process. So you can start small and then just take small risks in opening up to a trusted individual in your life and just kind of talking to them about it. And this can kind of help you gradually build confidence in others. You're not just like spilling the whole beans, you know what I mean? Just like gradual things, just little things to try and build that confidence with someone where you can trust someone. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is just communicating openly. So I'm talking from my notes, and so that's why it kind of sounds like it's boom, boom, boom. But communicate openly. So open and honest communication is vital in any relationship. So share your feelings and concerns with those close to you so that they can understand your perspective and can support you better. And I think that's so important because I know I've been told in the past, oh, you're so mysterious. And the mystery is because I don't trust you with my stuff. Like, I'm going to be mysterious until I understand or believe that you're trustworthy, right? And so when I know that you're trustworthy, then the wall comes down a bit. Next, we want to talk about just setting realistic expectations. So understand, when we're in a relationship, no one is perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. So we have to kind of give people room to mess up. And sometimes when you have trust issues, you don't give people no room. You be like, forget it, because you're still wounded in that space. So it's hard to just trust someone, and you want people to line up with your unrealistic expectations. I'm talking to myself, but everyone's gonna make mistakes. So set realistic expectations for yourself, okay? Because I know I do that sometimes. I'll mess up and I'll just beat myself into the ground, but then I've learned over the years, you're human, and so I've learned to kind of love myself through the mishaps. I allow myself to feel it initially, but then I also give myself room to just, repair and then move on from there. And we have to be willing to forgive when appropriate, right? Because sometimes we can forgive and forget and stay in a relationship or connection, but sometimes we can forgive and we need to remove ourselves from further injury because maybe someone is not honest with us. Okay, so there is a difference there. So we have to really walk in wisdom and forgive when it's appropriate. We should always forgive, but staying in a situation is what I'm really honing in on. Like there's a time when we just need to remove ourselves from situations that are not healthy. Okay, so learning from past experiences is my next bullet point. It's in order to really move forward, we have to learn from our past experiences, right? And that's wisdom too. And it helps us to avoid similar situations in the future. All right, because even in relationships, I've learned with certain people that I dated, they would compartmentalize our time. Let's say, like, I'm dating a guy and he would spend 2 hours a week with me, but he wanted to be exclusive. And I'm like, okay, 2 hours a week, that's not much time. I understand you work, I understand you have family. But when you say 2 hours, that makes me feel like you're balancing time between me and some other individuals. And so I learned in the past when someone is just giving me 2 hours a week that that's not sufficient because my love language is quality time. I need quality time. And so I trust that I know the difference when it comes to choosing someone based on past experiences because it helps us to avoid similar situations in the future. And I have about two more points I want to mention. Engage in self reflection. So, journaling is really a big thing for me. I tend to journal on my phone or on a notepad, just feelings and emotions that I have to understand their origins and then how they influence my interactions with others. And sometimes my journal looks like a songbook because these are my feelings and I'll put them in a song form, and it looks like poetry, it looks like a song. So everybody has their way of expressing their emotions, but self-reflection is so great. And then you can read back over it and see how much you've evolved and learned from that moment. And then just building a support network, surrounding ourselves by people who are supportive and understanding, help us on our journey to healing. So that is so important. And I've been praying about that for some years. Just, God, please bring me to my tribe, the tribe that I can understand them and they understand me and it's comfortable. Because I've been in circles where where I felt uncomfortable, like literally, like the energy was off, the connection was off. There's always misunderstandings. You know what I mean? There's a lot of judgment. And I'm so over it. And it's like I would rather be by myself than to be in a group of people where there's always contention, you feel resentment. And with me being an empath, I sponge things up. I just pick it up. So I know when someone doesn't like me. I know when someone's being fake. I know when someone genuinely likes me. I know when I'm genuinely loved. Like, I just know it. And when I know those things, um, even when it's a dark side of something, it's hard for me to act like I don't know. And so I'll just remove myself from the situation. You know what I mean? And as you get older and wiser, you just have to make some quick moves. So it's good, like in closing. So I want to just say that overcoming trust issues, it's going to be a gradual process for all of us. And it's okay to take our time doing that because you never want to rush through things. So we just have to be patient and celebrate each step forward. And no matter how small it may seem, and with that effort of self-compassion, we can work towards building healthier and more trusting relationships. So I think we can do that. And guys, I thank you so much for listening. And I want to just let you know that I'm starting to take counseling sessions again. So if you need counseling on your relationships, career, um, whatever it is, purpose, I'm here to help you. And so I'm giving my gift back. And I'm doing 30-minute sessions, and I'm also doing an hour session as well. So if you want to connect with me that way, my email is shine, SHYNE, communications with an S, at gmail.com, and I'd be happy to get you scheduled. Okay, please like, please subscribe in this video, and I'll see you next time. God bless.